said shut up. Hey, you're not allowed up here. You're not allowed up here. Market's about to open, kitty. What are you doing? What are you doing, kitty? Market's about to open. Market's about to open. What are you doing? I think Regeneron should buy NTLA, but Regeneron doesn't buy too many companies. I don't think the banking system is in trouble. Doge. Why would you own a meme coin? Yeah, it does make you wonder if you want to really store your value, why use a bank? I mean, you can use Bitcoin, but there's a lot of liabilities to Bitcoin too. You want to look at Sage, shall we? $59 million shares outstanding. So 2.6 billion market cap, kind of a mid-sized biotech. Zuranolone. Zulresso. So this is a company focused on psychiatric medicine, of which there are not a lot of companies that still care about this field, even though many people suffer from psychiatric illness. Approval would be by August. Interesting. August. Shut up, kitty. August 5th, 2023, PDUFA date. Biogen is their partner for selling the product. Yes, my cat has a name. Name is Nibbles. She even has an Instagram, I believe. Okay, it's _torty_cat. Ow, kitty! Hasn't yet learned that her nails or claws are very sharp. So she slept in this paper bag for 2 hours. Look at this, it's just a paper bag. I had some Chinese food in there, and she slept in there for 2 hours. This is her basically waking me up. That's me. In the morning, she just jumps on me and doesn't stop running around, jumping on me. And there she is. She's very small. Anyway, we're looking at Sage Therapeutics. This is a biotech company with a couple of drugs for psychiatric disorders. And it looks like they're doing some neurology as well with Huntington's and essential tremor, cognitive impairment as well. Zuranolone. Neuroactive steroid. That's a PAM at 𝗕𝗓𝗓. So the GABA receptor is one of the most important receptors in the brain. Shut up. I said shut up. Eh, you shut up. Alright, so they did this phase 3 study called Coral. It's a 2-week course. HAM-D -8.9 at day 3 versus 7.0 for placebo. Pretty good. I might want to take this drug. I am still bullish on NTLA. It's interesting. At day 42, no better than a regular antidepressant, so that's not good. I think you would want a sustained antidepressant effect, right? So it looks like this drug works quite well in the short run. And I'm not saying that there isn't a need for patients to take an antidepressant in the short run, but this data is a little bit scary that day 15 you have a nice separation from placebo, but by day 42 you basically are back to just having as good of an antidepressant as a regular antidepressant. So why would you need the second drug, right? I mean, you want a faster response for sure. Maybe they should co-formulate it in one pill with a Zoloft or a Lexapro or something. It's not so much the placebo wearing off because it's a placebo-controlled study, so it can't be that. That's why we do placebo-controlled studies. They don't take forever. That's why it said by day 42. So we're looking at Sage. Let's stick to Sage for now. I don't like 𝗕𝗄𝗅𝗡𝗢𝗏. All the SSRIs are the same. So, getting an extra 30-day boost. I mean, it could be the difference between that patient sinking back into depression and coming out of it, I suppose. But I have to look at more of the data. I wonder if it's been published. Credit Suisse has been going under for years, right? That would cause a bit more of a meltdown. Hope people are prepared for that. SSRIs are great. I don't think they're that close to placebo, actually. The problem is measuring effect of SSRIs because the clinical trial process is a very, very complicated thing. Depression is very complex. Not really clear why humans get depressed, but we know it's one of the leading causes of disability hours. This is time that people spend away from work, away from their family and relationships, and this is a serious medical problem. 689 employees. Wow. For this portfolio, whew, that is a waste. I could run this company with 20 people. 329 in SG&A. Makes no sense. They have one drug that sells like $2 million. 360 in R&D, but only 33 have MD, PhD. This doesn't make any sense. That is so strange. You got 33 MD, PhDs? Bruh. They may be doing some manufacturing. That's a good point, Anthony. But I didn't think they were doing any manufacturing because they get that solubility agent they get that from Ligand. Moral hazard is gone. I don't know if we're going to a recession or not. Macro is very, very tough to predict. I focus on individual companies. I try to find the best drug stocks and tech stocks, and I try to find the worst drug stocks and tech stocks. And for me, and when I say tech, I really mean software only. So for me, that's a skill that I have proven, I think, again and again. And that way, if you buy the best stocks and short the worst stocks, you get a hedged portfolio and you have to worry about the macro. If you're sitting there worried about, what's happening with the whole economies and you think you can predict that stuff, God bless you, but that's not for me. And I haven't met too many people that could predict that, by the way. Anyway, let's look at Sage. So these guys have antidepressant and a ton of cash. They raised a lot of money at the right time, apparently, because they have $1.2 billion of cash. Yeah, I love you too. Yeah, I love you too. We're not going to give you Sage Therapeutics investigational products made in our non-CGMP lab. We would never do that, kitty. No. All right, so Sage has put in has lost $2 billion since they started. So they've burned $2 billion since day one. And what they have to show for it is a $1.3 billion company, net of cash. So that has not been a good investment. It doesn't really seem to work that well. It's probably useful, I guess, if you want to get the patient out of their depression a little bit faster with a little bit more efficacy, but then you meet the curve with the regular antidepressant. So here's a way to look at it. I'm a bad artist here, but I'm going to do my best with my mouse to draw this. So here's the depression scale where lower is better, okay? Lower is better. Here is time. All right? The red I'm going to make is the antidepressant, okay? So the red is the antidepressant. And when you take the antidepressant, you get lower with time, okay? And that's been proven over many, many years. Some of this is a natural effect because when you do a clinical trial, most people in a clinical trial, they have something called volition, which is the will to live, right? Volition is the willingness to get up in the morning, the willingness to take the day, seize the day. People with depression have less volition. They have more apathy. They have more issues like that. And I certainly have had my fair share of depression, as we all have. So a lack of volition and energy is a way to basically think about depression. So here you have the antidepressant. So the point is, this isn't all coming from the antidepressant. Some of this is coming from the fact that people in antidepressant clinical trials are coming out of their depression to begin with, because a clinical trial is a pain to get into. So if you're ready to go into a clinical trial as a depressed patient, you're probably coming out of your depression, because people with serious depression, they don't care about their hygiene. They don't care about going to work. They don't care about anything. They just sit at home and they sit in bed. They can't get out of bed, let alone enrolling in a clinical trial. It's very difficult. It's a very time-consuming process. So anyway, the SAGE drug, the data seems to go like this, which is kind of strange, right? So you get a better antidepressant effect, and then it just kind of levels off, and you're back to where you are with the antidepressant. So these are people who are taking both the SAGE drug and an antidepressant like Zoloft, Lexapro, etc., Paxil, whatever, traditional antidepressant. So these are people who are taking both, and these are people who are just taking one of the classic antidepressants. Shut up, kitty. You don't know anything about this. No, you don't. You're new to pharmacy. You're only 2 months old. How do you know more than me? I've been doing this 20 years. I'm the farmer, bro. What do you think you are, farmer cat? Yeah, shut up. Stupid. So the question is this area under the curve really worth bridging the patient to, right? Like, I don't know that you get much out of this. If you're going to inevitably end at the same place, why do I need this drug? You know what it's like? It's like, and I don't drive, but this kind of reminds me of, you see this massive, I don't know, let me start over. You're sitting in a 2-lane, okay? Here's the 2-lane. And you see up ahead, the exit has like bumper to bumper traffic. These are supposed to be cars, so bear with me. Just nonstop cars here, right? And here's the exit. And there's basically miles and miles away, you're over here, and here's the other car. And you know that no matter how fast you get to this point, this traffic jam, and you can see for miles that this is just bumper to bumper to bumper to bumper, right, for a mile. So basically, you floor it to get here at 90 miles an hour. Maybe you get there a little faster, but this guy goes 20 miles an hour, and he's right behind you. You're both going to get to the same place at the same time. So why beat this guy, right? And that's basically what this drug is kind of like, right? You're going to get the same effect, but you're racing to the same limited effect. So I don't think this drug will sell that well. But the thing about psychiatry is that there's always an interest in new medicine. So it's having that new choice for a physician is an important thing, where you could, if you're a doctor and you have a patient that just hasn't responded to anything, sometimes it's really nice to have another drug to try, because the people with depression who just aren't doing well on any drug, and there's something really nice about being able to provide hope, provide a new potential medicine that could be really, really beneficial. So I think that's certainly, there's something there. So it'll sell. But the other problem is that Biogen owns this drug, right? So, and I don't think their other drugs work. At least I don't know, but it doesn't look like they do. If they split this drug with Biogen, which I think their deal is worse than that. I don't think it's a 50-50 deal. They still have to substantiate this $1.4 billion market value with a cash burn. Let's go back to the SEC filing. So they lost 500 million last year, 500 million the year before. I guess that's when they got the billion. They got that from Biogen, which makes sense. But they basically gave up their lead drug. The company was built in 2010, which is around the time that I built my drug company. So we looked at these guys as kind of one of the best companies that created value, or the fastest growing drug companies. But if you look at how much money they put into the company, $2 billion to get a 1 billion enterprise value, that's not so great. Whereas the company I started did quite a lot better. So we have to look at Zuranolone and kind of like, is there really a clinical setting where this is a drug that you want? Because it just doesn't feel like its performance is very good. It's amazing to have a new antidepressant, to be fair. But no, I'm talking about 𝗕𝗢𝗙𝗢𝗏. So let's look at Zuranolone. And then did you want me to look at, all right, so Zuranolone, let's look at this study. This was published in the 𝗕𝗢𝗙𝗀𝗏 Psychiatry. Not a bad journal. I'm going to save this to the drive. All right, so let's see. Day 15. Oh, this study failed? This study failed. Mountain. That's why they published it in this journal. Mountain did not meet its primary endpoint. Ooh, yeah, it's not good. That's why they don't mention Mountain too much. And that was at day 15. Depression studies will often fail. Yeah, they also tell us what doesn't work, but that's a very large... I can tell you a lot of things that don't work. So it's funny, they had good results at day 3, day 8, and day 12, but day 15, the results sort of stopped working. 0367217.5. All right. So this was just straight up against placebo, outpatient study. $20 million adults experience more than at least one major depressive episode in 2019. 60% has severe functional impairment, which makes it one of the largest contributors to disability in the US. I would think the number is higher than that. Yeah, this feels like it was written by the company. They're talking about synaptic and extrasynaptic receptors. Which I wonder if that's real or not. Synergistic phasic GABA activity at different GABA A receptors, so a distinct binding site from benzos. Never good to have a failed clinical trial, although again, I have to say in depression it happens quite a lot. Depression clinical trials so there was a 20 mg arm? I thought they said there was no 20 mg arm. Oh, there was a 20 mg arm, okay. Got a very narrow dose window where 20 milligrams doesn't work at all, 30 milligrams kind of works, and I think a lot higher is actually toxic, so not good.